Welcome to VNT. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In a moment that will echo through legal and political history, the United States Supreme Court has just refused to hear Donald Trump's appeal, effectively ending a long and bitter legal battle in the E. Jean Carroll case. Carroll, a journalist and author, accused Trump of sexual abuse and defamation, sparking a case that has gripped the nation and drawn intense media scrutiny. This Supreme Court decision brings Trump's efforts to overturn a jury's finding to a close. The jury had determined he was liable for both sexual abuse and defamation, a verdict that sent shockwaves through the country and set a powerful precedent. By refusing to intervene, the Supreme Court cements a multi-million-dollar judgment against Trump, and more importantly, validates Carroll's claims after years, indeed decades, of silence and struggle. For survivors everywhere, this moment is deeply significant. The verdict now stands, unchallenged and final, sending a resounding message about accountability, even for the most powerful figures in America. It's a reminder that no one is above the law, and that justice can prevail, even against overwhelming odds. This case, which began with an alleged encounter in a 1990s department store, has traveled an extraordinary path, from whispered allegations to the nation's highest court. Along the way, it tested the boundaries of defamation law, the resilience of survivors, and the reach of American justice. The $5 million verdict is now permanent, representing not just a major financial and reputational blow for Trump, but also a landmark moment in the ongoing conversation about truth, power, and accountability. For E. Jean Carroll, this is vindication, a public affirmation of her story and her courage. For Donald Trump, it is a stunning and very public defeat, one that will follow him for years to come. Ultimately, this is a story about power, credibility, and the enduring quest for justice. A reminder that the truth, though sometimes delayed, can finally be heard. To truly understand the Supreme Court's decision in this case, it's important to first know the story of E. Jean Carroll, her background, her allegations, and the legal journey that followed. E. Jean Carroll is not just any public figure. She's a celebrated journalist, a longtime advice columnist, and an author whose voice has resonated with readers for decades. Her career has been defined by her wit, candor, and willingness to tackle difficult subjects. In 2019, Carroll made headlines around the world when she accused former President Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her in the mid-1990s. According to Carroll, the incident took place in a dressing room at the upscale Bergdorf Goodman department store in Manhattan, a place she knew well from her years covering fashion and culture. She recounted what began as a lighthearted, even flirtatious encounter, but quickly turned violent and traumatic behind the closed door of a dressing room. Carroll said she kept the story to herself for years, fearing backlash and not expecting to be believed. When Carroll finally went public, Trump responded forcefully. He denied ever meeting her, despite a photograph showing them together at a party years earlier. He dismissed her account as a fabrication, calling her motives into question and attacking her credibility in the press and on social media. Because the alleged assault happened so long ago, Carroll couldn't pursue criminal charges. The statute of limitations had expired, but Trump's public denials and personal attacks led her to file a defamation lawsuit, arguing that his statements had damaged her reputation and career. In 2022, a pivotal change occurred. New York passed the Adult Survivors Act, a law that temporarily lifted the statute of limitations for adult survivors of sexual assault, allowing them to bring civil lawsuits no matter how much time had passed. This new law gave Carroll a rare opportunity. She was able to file a separate civil suit against Trump, not just for defamation but also for battery, seeking accountability for the alleged assault itself. Carroll's lawsuits quickly became about more than her own story. They became a high-profile test of whether a powerful man could be held accountable for alleged misconduct, even decades after the fact. The cases drew national attention, with supporters and critics alike watching closely. Trump's repeated denials, public attacks, and legal maneuvers became central to the unfolding legal drama, fueling headlines and public debate about truth, power, and justice. Ultimately, the case was about more than a single incident. It raised questions about the legal system, the rights of survivors, and whether those in positions of power can be held to account for their actions, no matter how much time has passed. Through her courage and persistence, E. Jean Carroll brought her story, and the broader issues it represents, into the national spotlight, sparking conversations about justice, accountability, and the power of speaking out. In spring 2023, the case reached a Manhattan federal courtroom. Carroll testified in detail about the alleged assault and its impact, supported by friends who corroborated her account. 2 other women testified about similar alleged conduct by Trump, and the infamous Access Hollywood tape was played for the jury. Trump did not testify in person. His video deposition was shown instead. After brief deliberation, the jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation. They awarded Carroll $5 million in damages. This was the first time Trump faced legal consequences for sexual misconduct allegations. The verdict was a powerful statement. The jury found Carroll credible and Trump's denials defamatory. The reputational damage to Trump was immense and lasting. Trump's legal team immediately appealed, claiming the trial was unfair and the judge's rulings biased the jury. They argued that testimony from other accusers and the Access Hollywood tape should not have been admitted. Trump's lawyers insisted there were no eyewitnesses and no police report, questioning Carroll's credibility. Despite these arguments, the appeals court upheld the $5 million judgment, ruling the evidence was permissible. Trump's request for a rehearing was denied. Each failed appeal made the verdict more solid. Trump was left with only one final option: the Supreme Court. While the first verdict was under appeal, a second trial began over Trump's 2019 defamatory statements as president. The case was delayed by legal debates over presidential immunity, but once the first verdict was in, the focus shifted to damages. Carroll's lawyers argued Trump's denials destroyed her reputation and led to threats and harassment. The jury awarded Carroll $83.3 million, $18.3 million in compensatory, and $65 million in punitive damages. This massive judgment underscored the harm caused by Trump's continued attacks. Trump appealed, but the award was upheld. The legal defeats kept mounting. With all other appeals exhausted, Trump petitioned the Supreme Court to review the $5 million verdict. His lawyers argued the trial was unfair and raised constitutional questions about evidence and due process. The legal world watched closely, as the court included 3 Trump appointees. For Carroll, the wait was tense. For Trump, it was a last hope. On November 14, 2025, the Supreme Court denied the petition without comment. The message was clear. The lower court's ruling stood. The verdict was now an undisputed legal fact. Trump's appeal was over. The Supreme Court's refusal to hear Trump's appeal is a historic conclusion to a divisive case that has gripped the nation for years. This decision, coming after months of legal battles and intense public scrutiny, marks a turning point not only for Donald Trump, but for the American legal system itself. The eyes of the country, and indeed, the world, have been fixed on this case, waiting to see how the highest court would respond. The $5 million judgment is now final and enforceable, cementing Trump's liability for sexual abuse and defamation. This outcome is not just a legal technicality. It's a defining moment that will forever be part of Trump's personal and political legacy. For a former president to be held accountable in this way is unprecedented, and it sends a powerful message about the reach of justice in America. The Supreme Court's decision also significantly strengthens E. Jean Carroll's position in her ongoing $83 million defamation case. With this ruling, her credibility is bolstered, and her pursuit of justice gains even more momentum. Carroll's victory is not just personal, it's symbolic for countless others who have faced similar struggles. For Carroll, this is the ultimate vindication. It's a moment of relief, validation, and hope. Her courage in coming forward has inspired survivors everywhere, sending a clear message: justice is possible, even against the most powerful figures. The ruling reinforces a fundamental principle of American democracy: no one, not even a former president, is above the law. It's a reminder that the legal system can hold the powerful to account, regardless of their status or influence. The judiciary has affirmed the integrity of the trial and the power of a jury's judgment. This case stands as a testament to the importance of due process and the role of ordinary citizens in upholding justice. This is more than the end of a lawsuit. It's a landmark moment for legal accountability in America. It joins the ranks of other historic cases that have shaped the nation's understanding of justice, power, and truth. The department store story, once a private allegation, is now a matter of public record, affirmed by the nation's highest court. The details, once debated and doubted, are now part of the official history. The case will be remembered as a pivotal moment at the intersection of law, power, and truth. It will be studied for years to come as an example of how the legal system can confront even the most challenging and controversial issues. The Supreme Court's decision closes a chapter in American history, but its impact will resonate for years, shaping conversations about justice, accountability, and the enduring strength of the rule of law.